All right, everyone. So today we have Dr. Robb Kelly, and he is an addiction recovery expert. And this guy has helped thousands of people from what I've heard, and he's just incredible in this space. And Rob, you really kind of changed the way that it's normally done, and that's what I like. So, can you just start out by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. Hey guys, my name's Dr. Robb Kelly. I specialize in alcoholism, addiction, childhood trauma, depression, PTSD, and all of the above. We do things differently because we're kind of neuroscientists when it comes to ways of life. And I mean, every mental illness we cover. We're just doing some research right now in dementia, early onset dementia and Alzheimer's, which is diabetes free, by the way. America doesn't want to call it that, but that's what it is. I live in San Antonio, Texas. I come from Manchester, England, in case you're bemused by the accent. I spent 14 years in Dallas and then I moved here 4 years ago, hoping to retire, but it hasn't worked out. We've been busier than ever over the last 3 years. And I love what I do because I do what I love.
Mhm. And that's important to love what you do. And, it's always amazing when you're helping people, like truly helping. And, you're saving lives. You really are, which is truly incredible. Now, I know you have a great story, and I know it's a long one, but can you kind of tell a little bit about what you went through that eventually got you started in all this?
Yeah, I was born into an alcohol family. I didn't know at the time, though. Aunties, uncles, cousins. I took my first drink at the age of 9. Now, back in the day, in the early 70s, uh, there wasn't much about alcoholism or drug addiction. His kind of grandfather liked to drink. That's what he used to say. So, took my first drink. Everything changed from there psychologically for me. I ask people now that age, when you was 9, you turned it up, oh, it was horrible. I spat it out, it was horrible. For me, there was an instant connection. And like a stress relief, all the worries of a 9-year-old, whatever they were, just seemed amazing. It just seemed that this was the thing that was going to get me through school. So I carried on drinking weekends. We in a band through college and everything. We always had bands and stuff like that we had money with, session musician and money with. And then, over the years, my drinking got out of control, but I didn't realize it. No alcoholic realizes that they crossed over the drinking socially to heavy drinking and then alcoholically drinking. And nobody could tell me why. So I've got some great news for you guys. We'll get into it later, what the real disease is. Because everyone thinks alcohol is the problem, and it's not a problem. It has 1% to do with alcoholism, same with every other addiction. So went to college, come out, I became a police officer for 6 months, and 5 months for being drunk. And life was just banging around. And then I started a telecom company way before the mobile phones came out. It was for the Army and Navy, telecommunication masts. And then slowly but surely, we had one child and two children. And then there were about 1 and 3 for me when some horrific things happened in the house. And it was like a blink of an eye looking back, but it wasn't. But before I knew what day it was, everything had gone. And I'm sat on a bench in the middle of Manchester, homeless, thinking, where the hell did that just go wrong? But also thinking, I'll be different. I'll go home tomorrow. She'll let me in. She never did. Parents never did. And brother and sister become estranged, and nobody's answering the phone to me. And I spent over a year on them streets. 7 attempts of suicide, and on 2 occasions I died and brought me back to life. And I hate
Wow.
for that because
Wow.
I hated me. I hate the way I was living, what come of me. And yeah, it was horrific.
So you said you started drinking at age 9. What was the time frame from age 9 up until you were kicked out of the house? You were on the street.
Probably 26. I was age 26, I think, 25, 26 maybe, when it came. I got sober when I was 28. So it's probably about 26. something like that. Um, so the age of 9 to 26, so that's a few years of drinking. And at first, I've got to tell you, Nick, it was great. I loved it. It served a purpose. I became confident, especially college with girls and stuff. It was just amazing. And then it just turned on me viciously and tough. And one of the biggest things I look back on is nobody knew what was happening to me. Nobody could say, hey, if you do this, then the result is this, or this is why you can't stop drinking. This is why everything's being taken. But nobody did. They told me to go to AA. They told me to go to church. The doctor says, stuff like have a warm bath when you want to drink. So, yeah, I was bemused and angry when I finally got off the streets that nobody had any information, either medically or people around me, of how to deal with this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then, you said that you attempted suicide 7 times. 2 was successful, but you were revived. What changed at the end of that? Like, what stopped that cycle?
Well, after the two deaths, that didn't stop me. I carried on for many months after that. Alcoholism is crazy, and even if you're threatened with death, it doesn't bother you. So if you can stop drinking alcohol, taking drugs, because if you don't do it, you might die, then you're not an alcoholic or a proper drug addict. You just abuse alcohol. There's a fine line there, but it's a real line. So after about 14 months, I'm coming out of a hangover. I'm walking in Manchester where the offices and factories are. There's not a human being in sight, no houses, nothing. I dropped down to my hands and knees. It was pouring with rain. And I dropped down to my hands and knees and I was crying from my belly. I was crying, sobbing. And my belly ached because of the crying. And I wasn't crying because I'd lost my wife, kids, anything like that. At that moment in time, I was crying because that was the first time I realized I couldn't stop drinking. And I looked up to the sky and I said, I was an atheist, pure atheist man with the bad stuff that happened to me in church. Got molested and stuff like that by my priest. I said, if there's a God out there, I can't do this on my own anymore. And about 30 seconds later, a guy walked around the corner. He'd missed his last bus home from Bible study. He'd been walking an hour, took a shortcut he's never taken before, because he always gets the bus, and he came upon me, and my life, the change started there for me.
Really? Wow. What did he say to you in that moment?
I always remember his name was Derek. He said, "You okay?" And I said, "No, I'm dying. I just can't do this anymore." And he said, "Look, here's the deal. You come back to my house. I'm a Christian. I'm also in recovery." I had a little Bible in his hand. And that was it. He took me back to the house. We chatted a bit on the way. I bathed for the first time, and I got proper clothes, shaved all this crap on my face, and ate real food for the first time in 14 months. But that was like a miracle in itself. But what was to follow was mind blowing. And this, I'm going to tell you what changed my life completely. So we're at his house the first night, and we're all changed, watching TV. And he turns to me and said, "Rob, I've been in your position, man. You can stay here for as long as you like, but you have to come to AA meetings with me." I said, "I don't like AA meetings, but I hate them." And he blatantly just said, "Well, if you don't come, you can't stay." So next night I went, of course, because it was a dry bed for the night. When I was there, same old crappy stuff started, people moaning, sober, blah, blah, blah. This guy said, "My name's John, I'm a recovered alcoholic." And I looked at Derek and went, what did he just say? Did he say recovered? Can't recover from this stuff? I've lost my kids. I don't know. So I was kind of angry with him at that point. And then he went on to say some amazing stuff, man. And after the meeting, I went over to him and I said, "Hey, listen, John, will you sponsor me?" And he says, "No, man." He said, "But I will be your spiritual advisor for a period of 12 weeks. Every Wednesday, I left Derek's house at 6 o'clock. I walked to his apartment for 7, couldn't go in before 7, adamant about that. Walked upstairs to 7, stayed with him until 8. He'd walk me to the door at 1 minute to 8, no matter what we were doing mid-conversation. And I got home back to Derek's at 9. I did that 12 times every Wednesday. And, I started to see my life for what it was. And we talked about all kinds of stuff. And my last night there, he said, hey, God's told me to tell you that you are going to change the world and things are going to change from tomorrow. So I said, I want to thank you for everything you've done, John, but I'm on Derek's brought mattress in the basement. Nobody knows I'm there, but thank you for everything you've done. Next day, about lunchtime, Derek comes home halfway through the day. I'm like, Derek, what are you doing home? He's like, the guy sweeping the floor at the factory's just resigned. Do you want a job sweeping the factory floor? I'm like, hell yes, I do. So I went there, turned into a full-time job that week. So when I got my first pay packet, I got a little teddy bear from the gas station. That's all I could afford. And a card. And I wrote onto the card, thank you, John, for introducing me to God, because he, capital H, took the compulsion to drink away. And I went back to his apartment. And I'm so excited to get there, Nick. Look what I've done. Look what's happened. Everything you said come true. And I knocked on the door, man. It just seemed a little dirty, the curtains and stuff. I knocked on the door, no answer. Knocked on the door. And the right-hand neighbor came out. And she says, can I help you? And I said, yeah, where's John? Does he still live here? And she said, John who? I said, John, your neighbor. She went on to tell me she's only been there 3 months. She'd never seen anybody in that apartment, but she's at work all day. So I go around to the left-hand side apartment. I knocked on. Big guy comes to the door. What do you want? Where's John moved to? Is he still here? Or John who? What's wrong with you guys? The guy, your neighbor, what's wrong with you? And he went on to tell me that apartment was derelict. In actual fact, if you walked through the front door, you would fall down to the basement. I thought he was crazy. So I went back to the meeting where I first met John. When I walked in, the chairman was like, oh my God, Robert, so good to see you again. Do you remember me? And he goes, yes, thank goodness for that. Does John still come in? And he said, John who? And I said, the guy near the coffee machine, I asked him to sponsor me, spiritual advisor. And he said, Rob, we thought you were praying because you were speaking to yourself. Never found that word since.
Wow.
And the stuff I do today is based on what John taught me. That's why we have a 98% success rate. And we're the only company that refund your money if you relapse. Nobody.
98% success rate?
Yeah, the nearest one to us is about 9%, I think. Yeah. Well, I didn't know what we did.
That's absolutely incredible. Now, what sets you apart? Like, what is it?
Well, our intense research over the last 12, 15 years of being in America is we knew it wasn't about the alcohol. We knew it wasn't about the drugs, cake, food, sex. We knew that something differed in the brain. And nobody knew what that was. Because if you think about it, if you get, if you study the brain for alcoholism and you find a way to recover, no one's paying you for that stuff. Everybody wants you sick. So the food industry gets us sick and the pharmaceutical companies keep us sick. That's just the way it is. So knowing quite well, we're more neuroscientists than we are psychologists and behavioral scientists. We understand how the brain works. And what we found was mind-blowing was this. The hypothalamus, which is the survival part of the brain, it tells us to drink water and eat food to survive, does that from birth. We don't have to think about it, we just do it as human beings. A certain point of the alcoholic's drinking career, because that's what it was for me, a career, the hypothalamus, the survival part of the brain, turned around and tells me and every other real alcoholic to drink alcohol, not drink water or food. So I could go days or weeks without food and water because the survival part of my brain was telling me if I didn't drink alcohol, I would die. That's why it's a disease, because the choice whether to drink or not at that stage does not exist. You don't have a choice over it. So when I say alcoholics are born and drug addicts are made, we do this through intensive research that alcoholics have a predisposition. We're allergic to the ethanol in alcohol. And we also, 3 parts of the brain, basal ganglia, the hypothalamus and the amygdala, differ from other addictions. So the addictive personality, over 90% of people that come to us with a heroin addiction start in the doctor's office. So we researched this, that you can't drink yourself into becoming an alcoholic, but you can take enough drugs to become a drug addict. We thought that fascinating. So we call ourselves the leaders in research. I've done many papers for Harvard University's psych hospital, McLean Hospital. I've wrote for all the publications. Doctors pay me to go around and do seminars to teach them about addiction, PTSD, all that stuff, because it's all kind of all mixed in the same with the trauma and the brain. And yeah, we're kind of the wise. You'll never see us advertised. You'll never see me do a show for patients. Like, we're not promoting our stuff here. We're trying to get one person well. We built a reputation that you can go to most treatment centers with a checkbook, sign a check for 20 grand, and we'll take you straight away. We don't do that. We turned a very famous pop star down for $1 million. You have to earn your services. You have to pass the assessment. I want to be able to look your partner or mum and dad in the eye and say, we can get your son well. And if I can't do that, we will not take you. We turn down more people than we take on. So I think that plays a big way. It looks after our percentages, and it tells people that you can't buy this stuff. I don't care how much money you've got. If your loved one is not ready, then I'm not going to take your money and waste your time.
Yeah. And you said that alcoholism is something you're born with. Can you talk more on that?
Yeah. So you can trace three generations back is what we say. If you can trace it 3 generations back for alcohol problems, then you're probably an alcoholic. My brother and sister are not. I am, because what happens is it skips generations. So the allergy, alcoholism has the allergy, and no other addiction has the allergy that we have. And our thought patterns differ. The basal ganglia is broken, and then the hypothalamus turns around and tells us to drink alcohol only. So we specify in that area, and we came up with this statement that alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism, and the same with every other addiction. Because I stopped a bunch of times, Nick. Well, one, I couldn't stay stopped, first of all, but I still had the problem. I still had the traits, I still had the mindset, I still had the self-sabotaging behavior and mindset that I had because of the alcoholism as I grew through. And a couple of people want to argue with that, and that's fine. Come and see our stats, over 9,000 patients. So yeah, that's what makes us different. And that's why we research so much. Everything that we do or say on this podcast has been researched, tried and tested in laboratories, hospitals, prisons, and in our practice as well. It's like, you can 100% recover. Unless you've got brain damage, you can 100% recover for any psych illness that you're suffering from, period. That's it. But as human beings and Americans, and I'm American now, let's take depression, for instance. So I get depressed. I say to my wife, like, I'm depressed, what should I do? The instant reply is, go see the doctor. So I go to the doctor. He gives me an SSRI, which is a false serotonin, and I'm stuck on that for the rest of my life. So it's things that happen. One, I'm stuck on it to get my happiness, not as good as it should be, but it's 60%. But it also depletes my serotonin. So I'm stuck on that medication, which leads to my question that anybody out there watching or listening right now, have you ever got to the doctor with a disease or ailment or illness where it's give you a pill that's cured the illness so you don't have to take the pill ever again? The answer is no. Of course we have.
And, I have cerebral palsy, and they've been trying to get me on meds my whole life. And thankfully, I'm still not on anything, because I know what that does. You get stuck on forever, and that's it. I don't want that. So, yeah.
I think. You look at you, you're amazing. You've got lots of followers, you're a great podcast host. You have some great questions. I loved you from the first time we met. You're a full professional. My mom did the same with cancer. She got cancer and they offered chemo. And what she said was very important. They said you've got like 6 months to live. She lived another 20 years, by the way. But she said, it's the quality of life. Back in the day, it was vicious. So you'd go for chemo on the Monday and you'd be sick all week in bed till Sunday. And she said, I would rather live for 6 months with a good quality of life than nothing. And that's what she did. And like I say, she lived another 20 years before she passed away. So a lot of stuff that we eat from the supermarket is poison. A lot of oils that were the canola oils of this world, cornstarch, sunflower oil, which you'll find in 90% of ingredients anywhere in the store. That's what gets us sick. So somebody asked me once to explain that. And I explained it like this. So you get people going, well, I have heart problems. Oh, really? How? well, it's in the families. My dad had heart problems, so we passed it down. It's biologically impossible to pass an illness down, first of all. So there's what happened. My dad and mom had a staple diet. And as I'm born into the world, I'm on that staple diet. It might be fish on Friday, fries on Wednesday, whatever. But we have kind of a staple diet. Everybody does. What happens is because of all the rancid oils and ingredients and false food in there that we eat, there becomes a deficiency. So if I can't methylate a protein or food, there becomes a deficiency. The deficiency causes the illness or disease. So when I leave home, I'm kind of on the same staple diet and have been. That deficiency, when I get old enough or whenever causes that, it's not passing down from dad, it's what we're eating. And also oxygen is very important. So the presence of oxygen equals a lack of disease. People don't know this. People don't know when they go to the supermarket and they see the green health bar, the granola bar, and on the packet it says 9 grams of protein and 0 fat. That's what it says. But you grab that and spin it around, and there's 27 ingredients on. Out of them 27, there's always 3 or 4 that you can't methylate. And people don't know this. They 0 sugar. That's the news. 0 sugar. That's not true. Spin it round. Start looking at them words on the back of the package that you don't know what they are, and you'll find out it's false sugar. If you're going to supermarket, guys, and if you buy 2% milk, guess what? It's not milk. We don't eat real food.
Yeah. If you look at the back and you can't say the word, you probably shouldn't eat it. That's about it.
I notice, guys, as well, when you go to the supermarket, there's ice cream cone and it's got flickers on it. It's a bestseller, but it doesn't mention ice cream on the packaging or anywhere near it. And the reason why it doesn't, because it isn't. You can leave that sucker outside on the back patio or something. Not one insect will touch it. And 6 months later, it still has the same shape as you put it out. It's not real food. But we sucked into it is, and it's not, man.
Yep. Yeah. And so when you're working with your clients, what is like the first step that you take with them?
The first step, obviously, is to find out about them, find out what they're going through, find out about the childhood, about the life today, any traumas that they can think, because the traumas we're talking about, subconscious. And then we kind of work subliminally with them. So this is what happens with the brain. 300 neural pathways die every day in the brain. What are we replacing them with? Are we replacing them with that basal ganglia that goes round and round with self-sabotaging thought patterns and behavior? Or are we replacing them with good, positive, energetic neural pathways? And the idea is there's billions in the head, but it's a simple equation that if I have more good neural pathways and self-harm neural pathways, then my life gets better. So we explain all that to them. We have a 9D breathwork therapy software. You have to wear headphones and eyelids. And 9-dimensional therapy through that, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. So we say this, like when I come to America, and everyone's seeing a therapist, and I'm like, how long have you been seeing him? 3 years. Okay. And you still seeing him? Oh, that's the best one. You go, hey, listen, I'm taking these depression meds, but I'm still depressed. My answer was, when did you think it was going to kick in? You've been taking 10 years. It's kicked in yet, So by using these tools, we convince them that they're not the person that they think they are and not the person that other people think they are. And that the mind is very powerful. So the mind is energy. Can't see it, touch it, feel it. Okay? And it sits inside the brain. That's the saying, mind over matter. The brain is matter. Once you can program this to work over this, then you're living in the now, you're living in today, and the rest of the noise goes away.
Really? And what is, something that people could start right now to start to change that in their brain?
I love that question. Okay, guys, I'm going to change your life from tomorrow. Unless you don't really want to do it, then it's not going to change your life. But if you're enthusiastic as me, when you get up in the morning, one of the reasons why nobody has ever woke up laughing in the morning is lack of oxygen. So on a normal circadian rhythm sleep pattern between 2 and 5 is when the body is its most repair. So there's no oxygen there. Okay? When there's no oxygen, the subconscious brain thrives. That's the guy with all the crap, everything you see, hear, feel, touch from birth, is all it. Billions and billions and billions of negative thought ones and good ones, but usually negative. So the subconscious brain wakes us up. Now, if you're going through stuff in your life and you have any doubts about what your identity is and who you are, that guy run the show. That guy wants to kill you and make it look like an accident. That is it. Make no mistake about that. Now, the conscious brain over here is the good guy, but it's powered by this guy waking us up, because this thrives in oxygen, this thrives in hypoxic. So when we do our breath work, what happens is it gets rid of this guy and you're free for that guy. This guy will kill it every day. Have a guess who wakes up tomorrow? This guy again. So the breath work is when you get up in the morning, first thing, no breakfast first, or shower, always do 20 exaggerated breaths in and out. Do that 20 times. We're flooding the body and the brain with oxygen. Now the conscious brain's alert. Now it's ready to enjoy the day. Walk into the bathroom. If you brush your teeth with your right hand, or weak left, weak right, weak left, weak on the right. And last but not leastly, step away 6 foot away from the mirror, look yourself in the eye and say, I love you 10 times. No other affirmation, just that. And the reason we ask people to step away from the mirror is when we step close, or we put makeup on, guys are shaving, we see all our blemishes, all of them. But when you step away, the blemishes go. We think people see us like this. When's the last time you went into work? Hey, guy, how you don't do that. When we stand there, we say, we're we're getting old. No, 6 feet away, that's how people see us. It gives us confidence that we're 25% better looking than we think we are, guys. We're at least 20% more intelligent than we think we are. Every person listening to this can change the world. Well, I can't change the world, just me. Next time you're out in a built-up area of people, I want to practice this, guys. It's also a little hint with the other three of you. Watch for sneakers. They're always easiest. When somebody's walking towards you with sneakers, I want to say 2 words to him. Nice sneakers. He'll probably say, oh, thanks, man. As he walks past you, turn around. He'll look at his sneakers 2 or 3 times, at least. Now you've changed his world, okay? Now he's in a great mood. It's like, he's comfy, looking good. So when he goes home to his partner, now he's in a good mood. It's contagious. Now she's in a good mood. Then the mother-in-law calls, and you get the gist. You've just 5 or 6 people's lives, therefore changing the world. It's as easy. You don't have to create a nuclear bomb or you be president to change the world. You do this one person at a time. Also, you get free dopamine, and he gets free dopamine because of the compliment 3 people every single day. Because the problem with us at the moment is we don't know what other people are going through. The world is a mess at the moment. We don't know what we're going through. So there's a guy that walked to the Golden Gate Bridge and threw himself off, committed suicide. When the police fished him out, they found his ID on him. Went back to his apartment looking for the next of kin. What they found was a letter on the kitchen table, and it read, I'm going to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge, throw myself off and commit suicide. Unless on the way there, which was an hour's walk, by the way, somebody smiles, says hello, compliments me, says good morning. In that case, I'd stop right there, turn around, and I'll try again tomorrow. So the question is, how many people have you passed by today, guys, who's headed to the Golden Gate Bridge? You just never know. If more people did that, the world would be a better place.
Yeah. You never know what someone's going through.
Correct.
That's why, I always treat everyone with respect and kindness. It is important. And I like that, make an impact on people's lives every day. That's so easy. Just like you said, just give them a compliment. So, yeah, I like that.
It's easy. It costs nothing. Yeah, but we can't wait for other people to do it. We've got to do it ourselves. So you're listening to this program. You're not listening by mistake. We're talking to you. If you don't think you're a leader, we'll go to court. You bring all the evidence that you're not a leader. I'll bring all the evidence that you are. And do you know what would happen? The judge would throw you out for contempt. Coming to court with no evidence. Because everybody listening and everybody around without severe damage can change the world. And we can lead. And we can be the best person we can be. And we can thrive. And we can inspire. And we can kind of get almost aggressive with this stuff. It's very contagious. When I walk in the office, I'm upbeat. Good morning, everybody. And I dance and stuff like that. Everyone's in a great mood all day. But if I was to walk in with a frown on my face, most of the people in the office would frown and walk around on eggshells all day. See, the thing you've got to remember, guys, is this isn't about you. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop thinking I could have done this, I've done that. You're never too old to start. You're never too old to start an empire or wherever you go. Just remember that you are a perfect leader. Without you knowing, you're inspiring at least 20,000 people with a ripple effect every single day you leave the house, because that is living. And that's where peace comes from. You can't buy peace. You have to create it internally. No one's going to come knocking at the door, guys. There's $1 million, or there's a boyfriend, or there's a job. Nobody's doing that. So we have to step forward with belief that we are the best person we can be, and we're the best at the world at what we do, and I can achieve it 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with you on that one. And before we wrap this up, what is your business?
What is my business?
Yep, the name and how can people find you? Yeah.
So I have businesses. I have the Robb Kelly Group. RobbKelly.com is the website. ROBB, 2 B's, KELLY.com. Dr. Robb Kelly on any search engine. I also have a foundation that just started, the RobbKellyFoundation.org, 2 B's again. That we have that going on. And we have, if you're in San Antonio or anywhere near, we have the British restaurant that I own next to my offices. So yeah, come and find us, come and friend us on all the social medias. And if you're listening to this and you need help or can't afford anything, come find me and message me. We'll give you some great advice. I'll direct you. I'll talk to you. Obviously, I'm a crazy busy guy right now, but yeah, just there to help. And the other thing, because the moment I got to say it's private, Nick, don't listen. The moment I met Nick, blew my mind. And he blew my mind for a couple of reasons. Cerebral palsy, and he's killing it. He was the most interested guy that I've spoken to. I couldn't wait for today. I kept asking Courtney, when's he on? And today when I got this morning, I get my day in the morning. I don't get it day before. But it's like, oh my God, Nick's going to be on. It's absolutely, what you do is absolutely phenomenal. So what I want to do for this show is, there is a book out there. This is the last thing my daughter said to me 30 odd years ago. Daddy, please stop drinking. It's the last thing she said. That's me. I'm wasted on that program. I'm intoxicated, and that's her, as they did a visit, because they took them off me when I was 3. I was about 6 months, 7 months after I got one visit, and I've not seen him since, of course. But if you message us, guys, or come and find us on social media and say, I heard you on Nick's show, I'm going to sign this and I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to pay the postage and everything. You get this free of charge at your doorstep with my signature saying, happy birthday, or whatever it is. Mention Nick's show, and I'm going to do that for you guys.
Thank you so much. And, thank you. It's a real pleasure to get to talk to you. And I learned so much, and I've been listening to you for a while, and you really changed my mindset around addiction. So thank you. And I know a lot of people struggling with that, and now I can offer them tips and advice to help them. So thank you.
Oh, of course. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. You're a gentleman and a scholar, and if there's anything you want doing, just call us.
Okay. And then, I asked the same question on every episode. My slogan is, your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
Whatever abilities you have, whatever you're suffering from, there is abilities that God got you, or Uncle Jimmy, or universe, whatever you want to call it, but that I call God-given. So you need to run with that and exploit that in the nicest possible way to create what you're always meant to be, despite what's going on, despite anything that's happening around you. Everybody was born with a niche. Everybody was born to change the world. Find out what that is, man. Find out what it is and excel in it.
Awesome. Thank you. And then, one last message from you, just for anybody out there struggling right now, what would you like to say to them?
100% possible to recover. Find somebody, start dialogue with somebody, believe in yourself, do that morning work we talked about, and just believe that you can actually do anything you want to do. So people say to me all the time when they come here, I'm at a crossroads. Good. I like crossroads because now you can start again in another direction and make it happen. The Beatles got turned down about 20 times, and they still become the best-selling artist in the world for Four Little Guys from Liverpool because they never stopped. J.K. Rowling was turned down more times than I can remember, and she's the first woman billionaire author. So never take no for an answer. Believe in yourself. Stop listening to the noise around you, the negative people around you, because they don't want you to succeed. And just believe that you can do it. And if anybody doubts that, here's the saying, says who? Oh, you can't do this, then it says who? Who's making these rules up? I don't like it.
Thank you for that. And I love that. Says who? I live my life like, instead of saying I can't, I say, how can I?
Yes.
And it goes the same when somebody tells me I can't do something. It's like, oh yeah, watch this.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
all right.
Told that we can't do things most of our lives, and yet we have, from a homeless alcoholic to the best leading addiction doctor and PTS trauma doctor in the world. That's what I believe I am. And you can believe too, because we're all capable.
Yep, we are. Rob, thank you again. This was absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Nick. Bye, guys.